Let's talk about Las Vegas, because this has been a sort of interesting development. You know, the images of the Cybertruck parked outside the Las Vegas Trump property went viral. You know, sort of, I think people thought it was an accident and then no one was hurt. And so there was a sort of bizarre symbolism, and then it was a Cybertruck. It was out Trump. As it's developed, it seems that this is being taken far more seriously. What have we learned about what authorities know and how they're investigating this?
Right, Chris. So according to the reporting of myself, my colleagues Andrew Blankstein and Kelly O'Donnell, right now, 3 senior U.S. law enforcement officials say that this explosion of a Tesla Cybertruck, kind of in the portico there where you saw that smoke rising from in front of Trump's property in Las Vegas, is being investigated, at least initially, as a potential act of terrorism, and that it was, quote, intentional. And there was a person who was found deceased. That is the driver of that vehicle. There were 7 others that were injured as a result. And so they don't yet have a specific motive, but some things they've found in the investigation leads them to believe that this could have been some sort of a terrorist attack, or at least that they should investigate it as such. Interestingly, Chris, I know everybody's going to immediately say, OK, we have something that happens in New Orleans. We have something that happens in Las Vegas. The car that was used in Las Vegas, the Cybertruck, was actually rented from the same type of company. It's kind of like an Airbnb for cars as the car that was rented and used in New Orleans. So the driver of the vehicle, who's now deceased at the Trump International there in Las Vegas, used the same car company. But we are told from multiple senior law enforcement officials that there is no believed connection at this hour between what happened in Las Vegas and what happened in New Orleans. We want to make that perfectly clear. Again, no known connection between what happened in New Orleans and in Las Vegas. But obviously, the president-elect, soon to take office, it's his property in Vegas. There's been an explosion there. It involved a Cybertruck. So what message is somebody trying to send with that? That's something that has authorities in Las Vegas, federal, state, and local, quite concerned, quite interested in it. You're looking at the aftermath of it there on screen. In some other video was trying to verify, it appears that there's kind of an explosion, not a Oklahoma City style car bomb type, but definitely the rear of the Cybertruck pops out. There's a lot of smoke and kind of an explosive type of fireball type thing that occurs initially, and you're looking at the aftermath there on screen.
Yeah, so just let me stay with you for 1 second. I'm going to let you go and get back to reporting. But we don't have a publicly identified name for the suspect yet. But just to be clear, and I think this is obvious, but I just want to make sure that we're on the same page here, that this was not a vehicle malfunction, as I think people might have interpreted this morning, that reporting or indicates that there were some kind of explosives in the back of that vehicle.
Right. There was some sort of an effort to get that car to catch fire, to create some sort of an explosion. And this was not an incident of a Tesla car having an issue. This was quite clearly a deliberate act, we're told. And I would expect that there will be some additional security measures taken into account around similar Trump properties, even ones that the president-elect is not staying at.
All right. That was extremely clarifying, as always, Tom. Thank you for making some time. I'm on a very, very busy day. Appreciate it.
Got it.